Hello, hello. Welcome back to
Hello.
Nigerian
Uh,
Women. You've heard his voice already. My name is Ibukun.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abidemi, and today we have Uncle Sumade in the building. It's been a long time
Hey.
coming, so we're happy
Hello,
to have him.
everyone. How are you?
We are
It's
fine,
It's
no?
good to be back.
we're all fine. It is a cold, wet,
A happy
rainy
New Year to
day.
you and all your followers.
Thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
We're happy to have you again.
Okay, so when he is here, it's
Good to
always
be here.
Wahala. The conversation
Yes, so
might go
yes.
left. Be warned, the conversation might go left. But Uncle Sumade has a question for us today. And go ahead with the question and then we'll summarize what it is. Please go ahead.
Okay, so my question is that obviously you lovely ladies are Christians, but as the title of your podcast suggests, you're also two Nigerian women. I assume that your first point of call for anything that requires wisdom is the Bible. But just in case there are occasions where the Bible is not clear, do you default to
Mhm.
Nigerian wisdom, or seeing as you both now live in the UK, do you incorporate an element of British wisdom into your decisions, or do you default to British wisdom? What's your natural default after Christian biblical wisdom?
Ah. Wait, so let me summarize. You're saying Nigerian versus British wisdom, essentially.
Yes, in making
Classically,
decisions.
Okay, because I do
Yeah.
not agree that there isn't anything that I cannot find a precept or a precedent in the Bible. Genuinely, genuinely, and I have a lot going on right now, and whenever I have tried to do it outside of what I know of God's word, it's not worked. I had to go back to
Yeah.
God's word. So I don't necessarily deviate from that because it's part of who I am. But I think
Yeah.
there is a way we by default handle situations as Nigerians versus Nigerian British people and versus British people. I
Mm-hmm.
think they're like those three camps. Like
Yeah.
there's pure Nigerian jungle justice. There is I am a bit of both, and then I'm just British. But anyway, Sissy, what do you think?
um, well, it depends on what angle. I think there's a clash to a certain extent, a clash of values a lot of the times, and the way that we handle conflict or handle misunderstanding or handle situations in a home, especially if you're from, but there'll always be diversity, there'll always be differences. You're from different homes. First and foremost, as individuals, we have different upbringings, and then if you have different cultures or you have different tribes that you're from, it's very different. Yes, according to Bukun said, there's nothing that she's looking for she doesn't find in the Bible. I will beg to disagree to a certain extent, because you have modern day issues that are going on when it comes to dating, when it comes to discipline, when it comes to even doing normal things as chores, and there are a lot of things
Parenting.
that have evolved over time. And sometimes your yes, it is the basis, the foundation for which a lot of the decisions that we make is carried out. But sometimes you have to allow the default Nigerian setting to come to play a lot of the times, actually, because that is your heritage, that is what you know. So even if, like I
Yeah.
mentioned a story a while back, even if that method of doing stuff is wrong, that's what has been imbibed in you. So automatically you default to that,
Yeah.
and there has been a lot of unlearning, relearning, and learning again as individuals, as moms, as women of color, Nigerian African women in this culture, and there are better ways that we can do things or pass our messages across. So I just feel that a lot of the times it's you can't you switch to your default setting instead of your Christian setting. But sometimes there's been a lot of cross carpeting that your Christian setting is a default setting without you knowing that that's what it is. So
Think what I'm saying about me personally. But
so there's
this
a
is the
lot.
beauty. This is the
Mm,
So
beauty
let
of
me
the
let me give
friendship.
you an example. What
Wait,
what
wait,
if one
wait,
of
wait.
your
Let me
children?
highlight something.
came
And
up to you and
hold on,
Okay.
can you hear me? Sumade, please hold on. This is the beauty, if you will, of the dynamic between Sisi and I.
okay,
We're okay to disagree, right? We are not the same person. The reason
yeah,
we're friends is not because she's
mm,
we are the same person. So the point of this conversation, especially
yeah,
since we don't know where this is going to land, is we don't need to agree. So if you're in the comments,
okay,
tell us what you think about Nigerian versus British wisdom, and if your
mm,
default setting is based on your principal beliefs or your culture. Okay, go ahead, Uncle Somari.
yeah. So I was going to say, what if one of your children came up and said they wanted to start dating, or someone has asked them out,
Mm.
or they like someone? What? How do you handle that? How? Because I can't think of a clear biblical principle for that. Do you see what I mean? So then you have
Mm.
to default sometimes to, okay, Nigerian wisdom or British wisdom. When I was growing up, the Nigerian wisdom was read your book until you finish university, and then they now start asking, "Where's your wife?" As if the person is supposed to magically appear since you have not dated for 20 something
Like
years. So,
yeah.
hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want us to unpack that
So what would
example?
you do in that scenario? Yes,
I would default to biblical wisdom.
if you don't mind.
Train up a child in the way that it should
Which is
go.
what?
which
But
is which
And what?
is
Yeah, but what does that mean?
there are seasons for everything. Yeah. And at
Okay,
well, it also well it depends. How old is this child? How old is this child? Let's give context.
I don't know, 11, 12.
No, no. See, the world has morphed into what we do not know. And even in my own time, in
Mm,
what we call GSS1, there were girls at 10 years old
mm,
receiving Valentine gifts from
yeah,
supposedly their boyfriend that they were
yes,
dating. So this is nothing new. It's not a
yeah,
modern day dilemma.
okay,
The point is, at that age, you are too young. We know this. You are too young for what we would call intimate relationship between a man and a woman. And as a result, this has nothing to do with Nigerian or British wisdom. It's about seasons. And it's not the season for you to be having an intimate relationship. And I'm not even talking about sexual intimacy, emotional intimacy with a member of the opposite sex. That's my own perspective, and it is rooted in the Bible.
but isn't emotional relationship a life skill that children need to learn to have?
Yeah, but not with members of the
And
opposite
how would they
sex
learn? How would
leading
they
but
learn
I'm
to.
that if
also
they are not
I
allowed
think
to?
what is your idea? What do you mean by dating? Is it I'm going to cinema to watch a movie, we're gonna have popcorn, or you mean or we're just gonna hang out together, it's just exclusive? Because we have to define these boundaries. Because our idea of dating in our Nigerian home is exclusive. But for Brits is there's hanging out, there is spending time with each other. But like
Mhm.
Ibukun rightly said, there's a time and place for everything. You are not ready emotionally, psychologically, mentally to have that definition when it comes to relations. You can have friends that are of the opposite sex. That's all well and good. But I think there's a time and a place.
Yeah,
And that is why, to a certain extent, you need to have open lines of communication with your
Mm,
children. They need to be able to speak to you and you need
yeah,
to be able to explain this is the reason why. A lot of these so-called relationships come with their own heartaches attached to it. What if you're not cool anymore? You've run out of what to talk about and you guys don't want to hang out anymore? How are you going to handle that after effect? And don't tell me, oh, it's not going to happen. And when we get there, you never know. You might actually scar that child or even make things worse. There is a time
mm,
and place. You're talking about 11, 12-year old. An 11-year-old sometimes is in primary school. A 12-year-old is just starting secondary school. So a lot
mm,
of the time, you are still trying to navigate what it is to be in secondary school, what it is to actually even have some certain level of independence, more
exactly.
responsibility, but independence that comes with it. And we
Mm,
need to pick and choose our battles as parents, in the sense that there is a time and place for everything. Just because other people are doing it doesn't mean you have to do it. And I must correct you, Ibukum, because you were saying that a lot of girls were collecting Valentine's present. Doesn't mean because they're taking that they're dating those people. Some people do it for the fun of it. Some people say, I like this girl. My
These ones
daughter,
were not. These ones were going out. No,
well,
see, you know the school I went to. I shall not open anybody's backside
well,
here.
club go school. So, like for my daughter, someone gave her a card and a chocolate. We didn't talk much about it because I even thought they were handing everybody, because one of the parents gave everyone lollipops. So I just thought they were giving it only for me to look around. I only saw my child with a bag and it had the chocolate and a card in it. And it wasn't any, I can't remember what was in the card because I didn't really look at it. It's not anything to like hold on to much. So a lot of the times these are done like for here innocently. I like her. I think I like hanging out with her. She's a very nice young girl and very responsible, very wise, very intelligent. So I like her as my friend. And that's a good place that they're coming from. There's nothing more attached to it for now. So I'm not going to hold that. And I did get Valentine's Day cards secretly. Sometimes I saw the card before I go home, so I don't get into any trouble. Sometimes I left it in my school bag, and I happened to find it a couple of. I got letters as well, written anonymously. Sometimes I knew, sometimes I didn't know. I got cards posted to me. So obviously, will come to my house or my school. So whatever the case is, I used to tell whoever was sending me a card, send it to my school, and you call that on assembly, you collect your card. That's fine. But I won't open it. I'll take my time when I get on the car. But anyway, it's but I was in SS1. So SS1 is year 11 or 12. So I was about 14 or 15. Getting all of that. But it wasn't a thing growing up that was I don't know how well, like you said, your school. It was probably a normal thing to see those kind of things. But when it was in Nigeria at junior class, I never saw any of that. I was in a boarding school and then I went to a day school, and my school was another Ogologo school. We didn't have people give people things. In senior class, maybe, but in junior class, I never saw that. But that is one aspect. You're talking someone is distracting me.
But your children are not growing up in Nigeria. Your children are growing up here. Where the conversation of, do you like him? Does he like you? Is always happening.
Yes. But I think you as a parent, you need to, what is the end goal for you? You're raising these children. Are you raising them? You're raising them for the world, to prepare them for the world, but you're not raising them to be of the world. I know it seems a bit cliche and all of that, but it is the reality.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people say people that are listening are not cliche. That's fine. But are you doing things because of people? And I think as parents, you need to go back. Why am I doing this thing? I've had situations where my child wants to do something and I'm like, no, you can't do this thing just because other people are doing it. We're not doing it. We're not doing stuff because people are doing. We want to do it because that is what we feel you're ready to do. And you need to put boundaries. Who is the parent? You are the parent. I'm not saying you're chasing your children away. I'm not saying you're shutting them down. These feelings, whatever, I like somebody, someone likes me, they are valid. But in the end goal, you're raising these children for what? For who? And I think you need to pick, like I said, pick and choose your battles. I'm not saying close the lines of communication, but have a talk. There is a time and place for everything. Your brain is not even fully developed to handle stress of home. How much more
so dealing with you give them a specific time or
sorry, say again?
No, I will not.
So
I
will
will
you
not
give
give
them a specific time and a specific age, or will you just say you will know when you're ready?
Specific time is university for me. For that is me.
What?
But we change. We change and we grow and we evolve. So for now, at this point in my life, I'm talking about university. I might change my mind, but I just feel that there's a time and place. A 16-year-old should not be talking. There's just too much. Do you understand? When I think about your goals in life, your achievement, yes, reading book is very, very important. But that emotional heartbreak, that emotional heartache that comes with all these things, you don't need it. Life is already stressful.
Yeah, but if they don't learn how to cope with it at a young age, when it happens when they are older, isn't it more devastating?
How they learn to cope. Uncle,
yes,
they're giving me now.
You have to build those emotional muscles.
No. Okay. Then why don't they start at 6 years old? Because you do have some people
Some
in nursery that have a
in
crush on
some
somebody
here in
else.
the UK do.
No,
I have a friend. I have a friend. His son and a girl in the school. They're always waiting for each other to walk to into the class together. They're in
mm.
what are they, year one? You know, they're arranging play
So
dates,
why don't they start
want
at
to
that
do
age?
their
So
birthday
are you
together.
advocating? Wait now, Uncle Sumade, are you advocating they start whenever they find a love interest? Is that it?
What is a love interest for a 6-year-old? Apart from, oh,
You
I
are the
just like
one
this
that is
person
bringing the
because
situation up.
I like this person.
You are the one
You
who
know,
you see Wahala, eh? You are the one who is asking question, giving example, and you are now saying, why are they doing? Look, okay, let us
no. I'm
establish
not saying why. I'm not saying that. I don't want. Let's not make it more complicated than it is because
Yeah.
a 6-year-old doesn't know anything about love. They just know they like this person and they want to hang out with that person. Are you going to be like, no, you're not allowed any
an
conversation at
11,
all?
12-year-old. Same as an 11. Sorry for
Mm-hmm.
interrupting you, but genuinely, it's the same situation for an 11, 12-year-old. It's even the same situation for a 20-year-old. When do you know what you know about love? It is through experience, to be honest with you, because you think you love
Exactly.
somebody, but wait, so you think you love somebody, even at 20, 21 year old, you think you love them, but then you come to
Mhm.
realize this is not all that it seems to be. Your heart is broken, their heart is broken, you move on until you then find that supposed one true love for you. But the point of this situation, first of all, we need to go back to Nigerian wisdom versus British wisdom as an overall topic. But
Mm.
in this example you
Yeah.
presented, there is an 11, 12-year old who is asking if their boundaries can be extended. So asking their parents if their boundaries can be extended to allow them to start to date. To be honest with you, it's not my own
Yeah.
personal business. It's not my own child. It's down to that parent. And I think Sisi said it very in the right way earlier on. It's down to what are you trying to put into your child? What are you trying to raise them up to be? Yes, you want them to be emotionally healthy, but do you
Yeah.
really think by them dating that early on in life, it would help them develop emotionally? If that is what you think, you are kuku the parent of the child. Go ahead, do your thing. For us
Mhm.
personally, if my child comes to me, I know my child's age, and he tells me he's interested in this girl, he likes her and whatnot, my response would not be shut up, go and read your book, because that's the way a typical Nigerian parent would handle it. My response wouldn't even
Yeah.
necessarily come from the fact that I live on this side of the world. My response would be, this is not the correct season. That's my response if you're asking me personally with my own child today. So I'm going to ask you, Uncle Sumi, in a second what you would say to your own child. But Sisi, do you want to give a view on what you would say to if your son or your daughter comes at their age now to say they want to start dating? God forbid.
Hey. Water.
Tell Mr. Man he's not invited to
Mhm.
this conversation. We'll keep that clip in since he's not shared his name, but he's not invited to this conversation. Please let Madam
So
talk.
I think, like I said, I think there's a time and place for everything. So
Mm.
Mhm.
I'm not negating their feeling, but there's a valid, yeah,
You're getting your coffee
there's a
handed to
valid,
you. See service.
sorry,
It's okay.
hot water. Add a little bit, sorry. um, there's a time, like I said, there is a time and season for things, situations like this. Yes, we live in the UK. Yes, it's normal. Yes, that's what people do. But I'm not raising this child because of people. Yes, they are in this
Mm.
world, but they are not of
Tell
this
them.
world. And we have to keep reiterating as parents, as individuals. we have to keep reiterating as parents, as individuals, that there's a time and place. And for me, children are just
Yeah.
not ready, however they want to. I know even when we get married, we don't realize
We're not
how
really
heavy
ready. That's another
responsibility
situation.
is, and we're still. I've been married for a couple of years now, over 10 years, and I'm still learning who this person that I'm with. I haven't learned
Mhm.
everything, and we're evolving as well. So when it comes to
But
relationships
are you
and dating,
saying that all your experience from dating is not helping in your marriage?
not
Uh,
really. I wish I really didn't date like
you know what has to
Oh,
be the case now?
really?
Wait,
there was
let
no
us
need.
break it down.
Really?
Do you know the
Waste
first
a
love?
waste of time. Oh, okay. No,
No.
let me not say that. One, it wasn't a waste of time, but for all the others, a waste of time. I shouldn't have. There was no need because it was unnecessary.
Mm,
I think I
Exactly.
over you know when you over expel yourself, you're giving so much that there was no need for you to give
Dave.
because that wasn't what you were supposed to be. But I actually didn't listen.
mm,
So I was a Christian, I was off and on. So I heard something I didn't hear. I definitely knew when it was wrong, that it was wrong from the very start. But I shouldn't have. Yeah. So,
Mm.
yes, to a certain extent. But there's, like I said, but I grew up in a different era. This is a different era. There is a time and place. And you need to evaluate
Mm.
when it comes to your children. You're not negating your feeling. You're not saying that it's not important. You're not saying it's inconsequential, but there is a time for
Mhm.
things like this. You want to go and watch a movie, you want to hang out with a couple of friends, that's all well and good. You want to maybe not go for a walk because the streets are not really smiling to a certain extent. You want to go watch a movie, watch a game, fine. Do you understand? But
Mhm.
let it not pass a certain
yeah.
boundary. Let
Mhm.
it not, you're not mutually dating this person. You're hanging out. It's your friend. And I think we need to know these things and keep reiterating when it comes to our children. Because a lot of these so-called, oh, I'm in a relationship, or somebody likes to have a boyfriend, only end up with heartache.
Mhm.
Because what's there
Mm,
to talk about after a while? You have
yeah.
over expelled everything, and then a lot of children don't come with a clear mind that I just want to hang out with this person. They have preconceived ideas of what they want to. I was speaking with a friend
Yeah.
that her child is in secondary school somewhere, and there's a boy that has been dating every girl in the year, and they are in year 8, so that's years too.
Oh dear.
And he's 1 week one girl, and he always has stories to tell. And these are girls that are just really young, that
Mm,
are 12,
mm,
13, and he's already thinking about exploring. There's a lot of that going on. So a lot of these children
yeah.
don't go with that mindset that is innocent. It's not innocent. They have an idea what, sometimes even a bet. It is a bet. I'm talking with my friend. I can get that. Ah, no, don't worry. It's gonna. Do you
Yeah.
understand? And the tension suddenly shifts
Yeah.
after a while because they've been able to date someone in their own mindset and lie. So sometimes don't even give that opportunity to someone to have to say things like that to you, about you, to other people. And there's just, for me, there's a time and place. You are not ready mentally, psychologically, even physically. There's no need for all that unnecessary heartache. You as a dad, you don't want to have to um want to be mending or making your daughter to always speaking to her, say, oh, don't worry, they don't know. There's no need for that. There's a time and
Especially
place. You
for the
can't
sake of
put
Mm,
people
experience.
first.
That's not
Yeah,
experience. That's
it's
trauma.
not what
That is
it is
trauma. And it's
you.
your job as a parent to protect your
Parents.
child from trauma. And if I could
mm,
answer the question about experience from dating, the cliche love is blind is a cliche for good reason. Because you
Mm,
think you're in love with
mm,
someone, you blind yourself to certain things that you are inflicting on
yeah.
yourself or the other person. There is no need, especially
Mm,
if there's no intention for that relationship to end in what it should, which should be marriage. But that's a different topic. Let us go back because our time is fast spent. And you started the
yeah.
question, Uncle Suna. This is why I'm saying these things go left with you. Eh? The question was Nigerian wisdom versus British
But a British
wisdom.
wisdom.
I almost said
Yeah.
museum. British wisdom. British wisdom. Now we've ended up with some 12-year-old wants to date for what? Anyways, the
11,
point
12,
Mm,
yeah.
is The point is, and I would say there is a different way you handle things based on your upbringing and your consolidated experience of the world. And it doesn't matter whether
Yeah.
it's Nigerian or British, but in our context, we're two Nigerian women. Sisi and I both spent majority of our childhood in Nigeria, but majority of our adulthood in the UK. So we are a blended
Yeah.
mix, whether we admit it or not. In terms of
Yeah.
defaulting to one or the other, I personally would say it is dependent on the situation. It's dependent on my
Mm-hmm.
intention of the outcome of the situation as well. So if we move beyond children, it is how I would deal with someone who is being rude to me, for example. Yeah.
Mm.
I know
Yeah.
there's a classical example, turn the other cheek. Yeah. Now, I would want
Mm-hmm.
that to always be my default, but I'll be the first to put up my hand to say, if someone is rude to me, more than likely I will give it back to them in a very diplomatic manner. They won't even know
Mm-hmm.
I'm being sarcastic. Or,
Well, like I said, this even as parents, we're on a journey. We are learning. We
mm,
are learning, relearning. We're learning ways of doing things better than what our parents did for us to us, and we learned. We are also learning new ways of doing things. We are now unlearning things that we were not supposed to learn.
mhm,
So I want to a certain extent fault you because sometimes I'm glad that you didn't go to a point that you had to prep someone and talk to someone because heartbreak at whatever age is not cool. And
mm-mm,
then that child is scarred. So I'm glad that we've come out on the other side and you're laughing about it. It's not a worrisome or stressful time. It's a learning experience. Not, it's definitely not for me, but sometimes people need to, you need to, because obviously they've had a lot of badgering and hounding and stressing. So you've had those moments and it's an experience for your family that you have gone through. So I'm not in any position whatsoever to judge or have an opinion because we are all learning. We are on this walk with God, however we want to look at it. Some of us are doing it a different way, but we're all trying. Heaven is the goal. End of
mhm.
discussion. And trying to bring up
I know.
wholesome, healthy,
Yeah.
young adults that will
Mhm,
not carry any emotional scars that we're passing on because we're not passing on our struggle from when we're growing up to our children. We intentionally refuse for them to take on board what they had no part of. So I
exactly.
won't fault you. And I just say, well done, because you have done what you wanted to do. It makes me laugh, especially the latter part, but you have gotten over that bridge onto bigger, better, and there are lots more challenges. I think it's very important. Do you have anything else to say?
I was just going to say on that note, let's end this episode. And for those of you listening, please first of all subscribe. Please subscribe. Let us grow this channel. Let us grow this podcast and ask your questions. Let us know what you think of the letter of justifying emotional growth from a
Mm.
relationship for a 12-year-old. So me not wanting to comment on camera is once again me saying I'm not her parent. And I commend Uncle Sumade and his lovely wife for what they were able to do and guide their child through. But genuinely, I know what I would do with my own child. And we're not advocates of this is what you must do with your child. We'll share what we would
Mm.
do, but
Mm.
do you go with God, so to speak. But yeah,
Yeah.
on that note, I want us to say bye. Join us for part 2 next week of this interesting modern day question: Nigerian wisdom versus British
Modern day
wisdom.
quagmire, because it
Eh,
is something. It is
thank you,
a lot
Uncle
of people's
Sumade.
specialty.
Thank you, Uncle Sumade, for your time. And I will say bye. Say bye.
Bye. Thanks, and we see you on the other side of the conversation.
Yep. Talk soon. Bye.